Hello friends, students and fellow martial artists. Today we're going to talk about distance in Taekwondo sparring, and we're going to break it down in 3 types of distance, and we're going to go through some ways that you could train this. Keep in mind that distance generally is one of the hardest things to train because it's a lot about the individual's hand-eye coordination, and it's a lot about experience. This, like sensing the right distance and being in the right range, takes some time, and the most mistakes normally you see them with the beginners where they cannot land their kicks right, and you see a lot of this type of stuff where they either end up too close and they start kicking from here, which doesn't allow them to score. And honestly, that was my first thing. I remember that was my first the biggest challenge actually in the beginning, where I just started sparring. I felt like I'm fast enough, I want to be aggressive enough and all that stuff, but I can never land my kicks because my distance wasn't right. And at some point it clicked for me. With all the training and everything else, it just took some time until it clicks for all the sparring athletes. Okay, so let's break down the distance in 3 types. Different coaches can break them in different ways, in more than 3 for example, and they can call it different ways, but the principles, I would say, stay the same. Okay, so right now we're gonna have the distance where we're gonna break it again in three ways, right? The first way, we're gonna talk about the regular distance, okay? So regular distance would mean the distance that you start sparring and the distance where the referees are setting you at before the round starts. And normally that's a distance that it's very close to everyone's range, but a little out of range, because nobody wants to stay in a range where they could get kicked, right? So you are exactly a little outside. We're gonna call this distance C, this type of distance, letter C, okay? So if you are in a C over here, it means that if you launch a kick on its own, you are not gonna land. You need to do something else, okay? And normally people use shuffles forward, or use the skip step, or you can use just slide in and throw from there, okay? So we break that down into distance C. That would be the regular distance outside of range, okay? If we move a little closer, we're gonna have distance B, okay? We're gonna call this as distance letter B, and this is the regular range. Like pretty much I can land from here, she can land from here, okay? And whenever you are in this type of distance, you have to go. You are never gonna sit here and see what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen is you getting kicked if you think that way, okay? So as soon as you land here, you should be the first one who wants to go, who wants to take, to initiate the attack over there, if you are ever in B. Keep that in mind. Now, the next type of distance will be the A, okay? The A, it's the most awkward distance because it's not a clinch and is not a good range either. Like if I throw a full kick from here, I don't land, okay? So normally from here, you can go head level, and this is a distance that's pretty dangerous, and I always advise everyone and all my students to do something here, because beginners, what they get here and they just kind of look at their opponent, and if they're both beginners, they kind of look at each other and they don't know what to do, because they kind of sense they're too close, but it's not too close. So it's like, what am I gonna do here, okay? From this distance, you can always go head level because the angle is just right, okay? The distance is to be shorter because the angle changes when you go head level, so you can always go head level. Or if you don't feel like kicking, you are not the one who wants to kick there, move out of it, either backwards or jump in the clinch. This type of distance happens after some combos. Like she did some combos, she moved different ways, or I did it, and we just land here. And instead of looking at each other, you either continue to jump in and use clinch techniques, or you land here and you start moving around. You should never wait in this type of distance, so letter A, and you should never wait too long in B. Here you have the best range, so whenever the target is in your range, you should just launch. Let's check out a few ways of training distance, especially with beginners or young kids. One of the games that maybe it's overlooked, but it's a very old school game in Taekwondo, and I think everyone did it, or if you didn't, you should, because this is great for kids especially, even for adults. It doesn't really matter the age right there. Just to sense the type of distance. And this game is shoulder and foot pretty much. So in shoulder and foot, you would be in guarding stance here and you try to tag with your arms. You use your legs only for moving around. You're always in guarding stance here, and kids have a blast with this one. You just try to go towards the shoulder. I try to get the foot, and my opponent would just have to avoid all of that. Whenever you get tagged, normally we do one push-up, okay? So if we're here, we can start playing a little. So I got her there, she would do one push-up right now, and we can just keep going from there, okay? So if she attacks me, I have multiple options. I can just pull back, I can slide, okay? So what does this do? It's allowing you to sense the distance because you want to avoid the tags, all right? That will be the first one, and one of the easiest and the fun games. Make sure you play with these ones with your student. And second one would be, switch your feet, would be holding hands right here. This one help you work on balance and multiple kicks, but also give you kind of the B range, okay, where the distance is just right for me to kick and for her as well. In the B range, I can just do multiple kicks. I can cut, round, cut, hook, and you can just play with it, and then she goes 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. There you go. All right. So this would be the second drill. Two of the drills that you can use for your athletes or for yourself if you want to get a better sense of distance in a sparring. The other ones would be situational drills, okay? So let's say you want to train the A type of distance that's really right here, okay? You can just position yourself like this. You pick your kicks that you think that might work. Let's say I work on a short roundhouse or a stiff arm roundhouse and a hook kick, okay? And we can just work that way, okay? We both bounce, and let's say I go first, 1 and 2, and then she would go first, 1 and either way, she did a different kick, which is perfectly fine, okay? So you can do that as well, and you can always get creative with your kicks, but make sure they work from the type of distance. Let's say you want to train the C type of distance, which is the out of range one, okay? Here, you can always work on slide in hook kicks. You can just go straight with tornado kicks, the skip roundhouse, skip cut kick, shuffle cut kick. All of those work from the C type of distance, the double or the fake cut, 1 and land on the second. Anything like that works from the out of range letter C type of distance. The last one would be the clinch, but we're gonna leave that one for a different video because the clinch has its own intricacies and its own type of exercises. We're just gonna focus on these three types of distances for now. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next episode. W1 out.